Gee, it must be wonderful to visit all those foreign lands.
Theresa Harris was born December 31st in either 1906 or 1909 in Houston, Texas. Her parents, Isaiah and Mabel, were sharecroppers from Louisiana. Her mother was also a teacher. At 11 years old, the Harris family decided to relocate to Southern California. Theresa graduated from Jefferson High School. At first, she wanted to be a teacher like her mother, but later changed her mind. She decided to become an actress. She studied at the UCLA and Zoner's Conservatory of Music. Later, she joined the Lafayette Players, a successful musical and comedy theater group composed of actors, dancers, and other entertainers that performed predominantly to black audiences. She eventually left the group and started her acting career in her early 20s. She made her first film appearance in 1929 in Thunderbolt, singing "Daddy, Won't You Please Come Home."
Daddy, do you have to roam so very long? There's lots of other new sheets like to be seeking heaven's attention, but I'm bound to be kept. Daddy, Daddy, won't you please come home?
The following year, she played in a lot of films, mainly as maids to big Hollywood stars such as Ginger Rogers, Betty Davis, and Sylvia Davis, just to name a few. She also floated around studios doing small parts, usually at Warner Brothers or MGM, as a blues singer, waitress, tribal woman, prostitute, or a head check girl. Although she was given these types of roles throughout the majority of her career, it was stated that she always showed dignity, grace, and demanded respect. She would not be credited in a lot of the films she played in. Even in the major ones where she had an important role or when she was filmed next to Hollywood's biggest stars. Theresa did not fit the typical mammy/maid stereotype that Hollywood looked for. They normally wanted maids to have the same features that people like Louise Beavers or Hattie McDaniel had, but Theresa looked totally different. She was a petite, small woman who was only 5'2". She would be one of the only few black women to play a maid but not fit the typical stereotype that Hollywood liked. In 1933, she appeared in one of her best films as Chico in Babyface beside Barbara Stanwyck as Lily, a woman who slept her way to the top. In this film, Chico was Lily's maid, but she wasn't just simply a servant to her, she was her friend. They sat and stood side by side throughout the entire film, and they had equal amount of screen time. There's a few times in the film where Lily ends up taking up for Chico, and in one part of the movie, Lily's father wants to fire her for broken dishes, and Lily steps up and tells him, if she goes, then I go. They were portrayed to have a true friendship, which was very rare for black actresses in maid parts during that time. Theresa was allowed to be sexy, glamorous, and her own person in this role. This is one of the films that she did get credited for. Because of this film, in 2011, Lynn Nottage created a play called By the Way, Meet Vera Stark. Sanaya Lathan plays the character that is based in part of Theresa. Lynn said when she watched Babyface, Theresa was the one who caught her attention. She was blown away by her. She explained that she really held her own in the film, and she wasn't one of those invisible actors who just filled the screen. Theresa was popular and well known to black audiences, and whenever she played in a black film or a race film, her name would be listed even if she wasn't playing a leading role. One of the popular race films she played in was called Bargain with Bullets, produced by $1 Million Productions, owned by Ralph Cooper. She gave Ralph Cooper his props for starting a production company that starred black actors. She said, quote, "We have nothing to lose in the development of an all-colored motion picture company. The competition will make Hollywood perk up and produce better films with our people in a variety of roles," unquote. In some of her other popular films, she was paired with Eddie Rochester Anderson, who portrayed as her boyfriend. They appeared in a couple films together, one being Buck Benny Rides Again in 1940 and What's Buzzin' Cousin in 1943. In Buck Benny Rides Again, they performed the musical number My My. Rochester has an amazing singing voice that is just bold and unique, and Theresa was able to keep up with him, singing just as bold and beautifully as he did.
Best I can say is my.
Come to think about it, you're sort of sweet, strictly elite, not too bold, not too cold, but so shy. You're sort of sweet the way you repeat, Mama.
In the 1950s, she appeared in several different TV shows, and outside of doing film, she performed in many radio programs, including one called Holiday Hotel, which featured Hollywood stars and dramatized versions of the current movies that were popular during that time. Harris was a very hard worker. She appeared in almost 90 films at every major studio with Hollywood's biggest stars during her career than anyone else. She showed excellence in all of her roles she played. She was respected by many, from studio producers and co-workers. They sometimes went out of their way to get her more lines and screen time. She was a favorite of producer Val Lewton in particular. He routinely cast African Americans in non-stereotype roles. Some of the films he cast her in is Cat People, where she played a sarcastic waitress, followed by I Walked with a Zombie in 1943, Phantom Lady in 1944, and Strange Illusion in 1945. Her last film appearance was in 1958 in The Gift of Love, playing a small role as Dora, a gardener's wife. She, again, was not credited for this film. She did speak out about her frustration over the difficulty that black actors had in the film industry. She stated, quote, "I never had a chance to rise above the role of maid in Hollywood movies. My color was against me in any way you looked at it. The fact that I was not quote-unquote hot stamped me either as uppity or relegated me to the eternal role of stooge or servant. My ambition is to be an actress. Hollywood had no parts for me," unquote. She retired from Hollywood in 1958. In her personal life, she was married to George Robinson, who was a doctor. They got married in 1933, and they remained married until she passed away. She was a very intelligent woman and made smart decisions with her money that she made throughout her acting career. She made good investments, and this allowed her and her husband to live comfortably after she retired. On October 8th, 1985, she passed away in Inglewood, California. She was either 79 or 82, and her cause of death was not made public. Theresa was so talented. She graced the screen with her magnetic presence, and most of the time, she stole the scenes from the top stars. She would have been a household name if times were different. Theresa Harris, you will be remembered.